Are you feeling uncertain about not just your life and what's going on for you, but uncertain about life in general on this planet? If you are, then you've come to the right place. I don't have all the answers, yet I do have a process where I can get clearer on what is going on for me and what is going on in the world and what exactly I can do about it. I'm your host, Kylie Savage Psychic, and this is July Oraclecast for 2022. Crazy, crazy stuff is going on in the world right now. It's hard to even recognize this as Earth, and it's affecting all countries. And we still need to be mindful that we're still processing a major global pandemic which has disrupted every level of life and existence on the planet. And, you could just be still processing some really big, deep emotions from that. I sort of feel like we're in the fallout period of the pandemic. And I know personally, my health and mental state has just been on such a roller coaster. And it's been really challenging to reach for those next best feelings, to navigate depression and anxiety, and just this ongoing feeling and sense of dread. Because life at the moment on earth is overwhelming, and we are all doing the very best we can. And yet, each day you wake up, it's a different tragic scenario, and we are reeling from these constant knocks. And we're still very much in that survival mode of fight and flight, freeze, and all the rest of it. So if you found yourself here, I'm so glad that you have. And, life is messy. We get that. It's incredibly messy and sometimes incredibly challenging. And the things that are happening in our world are asking us once again to ask those big questions of ourselves and of others. Who are we? What are we? What are we here for? What's life all about? Is there a plan? Does God exist? And all the rest of it. And it'd be so nice to come to our spiritual awakenings and understandings and experience spiritual shifts without having to, experience those blows between the hammer and the anvil, without having to have our world shaken up so much. And yet, I trust that all of these things are happening for a reason, and our evolution is being sped up, and it's being sped up by these events, by our responses to these events, and that there is somebody at the wheel. And yet really so much depends on our own personal will and choices. How are you responding to the pressures of daily life? How are you responding to global events? How are you responding to being interconnected at such deep levels? Coming to the terms with the fact that what happens to people on the other side of the globe can immediately impact you in some way, even if it's just having deep empathy and feeling and compassion for your sisters and brothers on the other side of the world. We're no longer operating as isolated countries. That hasn't been the case for a long time. And things like climate change, they impact us all as global citizens. And the responsibility for, making daily choices has become something that's not personal, it's global. And these global problems need global solutions. We need to start working together more and more. And the one thing that I just keep coming back to is we're spiritual beings having a human experience. We're here playing the game of life. There is no higher power controlling our every thought, word, and deed. Instead, a higher power asks us to turn over our will and our life to them as we understand them. And I do that every day. I do my third step prayer morning and night. And then when we work in partnership, collaboration and cooperation, when we co-create our life with the divine, then we can see things unfold in really positive and impactful ways, in ways that return us to our, a sense of being whole. They return us to the truth of our spiritual natures and to the sense of oneness with all things. And they reconnect us. That understanding reconnects us with a source of power by which we can live our life. We're not running around drinking and drugging and doing all sorts of escapism and stuff to get power, because we no longer need to do that. We're reliant on an infinite source of power. And if at any time, you hear me say something like that, or somebody else, dig a little deeper, and you can always get in touch with me. I'm always happy to chat about spiritual matters, and I always share openly my experiences, what's brought me to my own understandings and truths, which are constantly evolving and changing. But yeah, I come back to that. I come back to we're spiritual beings having a human experience. There will be nobody putting the brakes on our evolution and growth, because that's just not what happens. The soul is all about expansion. The soul never stays still. We're either devolving or evolving. You want to get on the evolution train, right? And we're doing that. We are co-creating, I love the way Colette Baron-Reid says it, between two pillars. Life on life's terms and co-creating, turning our will and life over to the divine as we understand them, and co-creating a life in partnership with spirit. So everything is happening between those two pillars. And sometimes, depending on where you're at, that's a lot to take in. And I have been on the, dedicated, conscious, spiritual path for almost 25 years. And there's a lot of things, I used to think about and I had questions about before, which I don't anymore. I mean, your questions change. For me now, it's just about taking the tools I have and applying them in these new situations. And for me, I find it's all about going deeper. Yet, one system I use and I've constantly relied upon to process my daily experiences and to navigate the way ahead, because the future is fluid. Some things, seem a little bit inevitable and unchangeable, and yet most things are changeable. That's why, you can see how everyone's self-will and the collective self-will is pushing forward and is pushing ahead, and seems like things are changing, but perhaps, seems like things aren't changing. They're going backwards a bit lately. But what's happening is we're just getting to deeper layers, and we're getting more of us on board and sharing the benefits. And each generation has its challenges, which even if people have fought for the same, navigate those same or similar challenges in the past, it's this generation's turn to take that deeper, and take it to another place. So the way that I like to navigate my life and understand what's going, to unfold in the future the best that I can see, is to do my oracle card reading. And I call it an oracle card reading practice, because it is a practice. And you can get something out of this if you're just new to oracle cards, or if you've been reading your own cards for a long time. And I always start with a really good question. So I'll share that in a minute. I'm just going to have a sip of my peppermint tea. I'm coming off a week of the most dreadful cold. I pushed myself a bit too much with doing the psychic challenge and doing a lot of things last week, and everyone else was sick, and you just keep trying to resist those cold germs and hold them at bay, and I'm like, I can't be sick, I've got to look after everybody else. And then bang, it hit me, and I haven't been this unwell for ages. So if you've got prayer lists and healing circles and Reiki happening, yes, thank you, I would love some. I'm actually feeling a lot better, and I'm like, if I don't do this today, I don't know when it's going to get done. Okay, so a little bit of news first. If you're new to me, I would love for you to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that little bell to get notified when these videos go up. It's great to see some growth in the channel, to welcome some new people on board. That's terrific. I uploaded another video to the meditations library. It's called the Claire's Guided Meditation. And if you would like to understand your psychic senses, which mirror our material physical senses, go ahead and do that meditation. You can do it as often as you like. I would only recommend, once a day or once a week or whatever, and then journal and date it and see what your experiences are. And when you're doing that meditation, your psychic senses will be heightened from then on. So it's a real bonus, that meditation. I've wanted to record it for a long time. pardon me. But yeah, go and check that out. So each month I do an Oraclecast. There will be at least 3 cards. You can, it's like a pick a pile reading. You can choose a number. I'll get you to do that in a moment. And then that message will be a little bit more relevant to you and for whatever is going on for you in your life. I've retired from personal one-to-one paid readings for the public, which means you're going to get your readings from me here, and that may be about it. I may do a few lives. My focus more now is on teaching. I've always taught, but I'm going to up-level my teaching, so courses, workshops, things like that. Watch out for those. And if you would like to stay in touch with me and my community, the best way is to go to the website and sign up, subscribe for my newsletter. You can do that as well on Facebook, but Facebook has just recently changed all the pages and I'm having trouble organising my buttons, my tabs at the top. But yeah, you can sign up on Facebook or just send me an email at info@kyliesavage.com and I'll subscribe you to the list. Yeah, there's a Facebook page. Everything's under my name, Kylie Savage Psychic. If you spell my name correctly, you'll find me. I'm on Instagram the same. And you can go and look at the website and the blog. Okay, so what's coming up this Wednesday evening, 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, is Cuppa and Cards Catch Up. And I'm going to take you through my proven method for doing a 1-card reading. That's the basis for doing all my readings. When I can read that anchor card, that first card, then I can build the story and emotion around it. I still really only like to do a 4-card reading if I was reading for clients and build on that. I like these 3 cards, the pick a pile 3s, because I think that's enough, especially for a short video. But if you can learn how to do that, and I give you the format for it so you can practice it, you can always talk to me about it, send me your questions and everything later. If you can master that art of the 1-card reading, you can read not only oracle cards, you can read tarot, you can read objects, you can do photo readings, you can jump into mediumship, you can read places, so many things. It's a really proven process for engaging the logical mind, because we don't want to leave anything out, with the more creative, intuitive mind, like parts of you. So we bring them together in a marriage. I will show you how to do that. And it will really let you know how your intuition works for you, how it comes. Because intuition, people think that they know a lot about it, but the thing is, you're the intuitive instrument. So the better you know and understand how intuition works for you, break it down, really understand, because it'll be very subtle. We're going to illuminate those layers for you, or that's what I do in my work. Then, the better your intuition will work, because you understand how it works for you. It's unique for each individual, yet there's a lot of similarities. So yeah, Cuppa and Cards Catch Up, very exciting. We care and share, we meditate. It's amplified because you're working with my energies and my connection to spirit. When you're ever doing any work with me, you're getting the benefit of that amplification. It's sort of like a jump start for your connection to spirit, because you're relying on the one I already have with spirit. My team and I work really well together. We've been doing this for a long time, and you'll notice the difference. So it's free for your first visit. You've got to register. Send me an email to say Cuppa and Cards, info@kyliesavage.com. If I remember, I'll put it in the comments on the show notes. And then your second visit is $22 Australian, and you can just pay me with a PayPal link. Okay, in my brand new Facebook group, Kylie's Cubby, where we get together, be curious and playful and open-minded about all things psychic, you can now do the 7 days more psychic challenge. I've uploaded it into the guide section. So basically what you have is a free mini course on how to be more psychic. So I've come from the premise that we are all psychic, we all understand that, and now how can you be more psychic? She said that we have the Claire's meditation, we have meditations, there are Facebook Lives you can watch, there are practical exercises and journal prompts, and I'm in that group all the time. You can message me, tag me, and we have really great topics and things like that. So I trust that once you go in there and you have a play with the challenge, you'll love it so much you'll stick around. And please share that widely. Okay, so what's happened is you can no longer book a personal paid reading with me. What you can do though is if you would like to up level your Oracle card readings or your tarot readings and become a professional reader, and you would like for your readings to, just have that finesse and like be fine-tuned so that you can got to go and do your readings at fairs, or you want to go and start working from a psychic shop, a new age crystal shop, or you want to start doing readings online, you want to set yourself up in business, yet you just need a little bit of polish on your readings and need to finesse your own systems so that you can easily read through, whatever format, groups, individuals, whatever. You want to go platform at churches, or go up in front of Mind, Body, Spirit, do a platform there, whatever you want to do, you can book a package with me. So improve your Oracle card readings. That's 3 Zoom lessons with me. It's $333, and then what you can do is go on a subscription rate. So at the moment it's set at $75 an hour, like each session, and each session does last about an hour, and I'll take you through. We'll look at where your Oracle card reading is now, or your tarot, and what we can do to fine-tune it, finesse it, and improve it, and just put some polish on your readings so that you can go out and read with confidence, knowing that you've got a proven process that's going to work no matter what client you're seeing. Sorry, no matter what client is seeing you. And, how to attract some really good clients. And if you want to improve your psychic abilities, there's a similar package. It's Be a Better Psychic. So head over to the website, the services page, or when you land on my homepage, it will say book a service. Hit that button. It will take you straight to that, and have a read through and see what you like. If you're not sure about any of those things, or, if I'm the right person to work with you at all, book a free clarity call, and we can have a chat. We'll meet via Zoom, and we'll just, we'll figure it out. We'll see what would be the best package for you, where you're at now, if I'm the right person for you to work with, and what I would do to assist you to go from where you're at now to where you want to be. Then that's a great option. Okay, as I said, but I have lots of ideas for lots of new things, and probably some pop-up like classes, pop-up master classes, and pop-up workshops, things like that. So go and find me on Facebook, head over and sign up to my newsletter, and let's stay in touch. All right, this is Thirsty Work, all this talk. And let me know, are you loving my new background? I finally changed my office around and got rid of my curtain, which is so great because it was a really good idea. If you needed a handy backdrop, it was just a clothes horse, things that you hang your ironing on, your clothes on, sort of like a portable clothesline, and it just had a curtain on it, and scarves, I love my scarves. Okay, so today I'm reading from Colette Baron Reid's The Wisdom of the Oracle, the first deck I ever bought from her, which I still adore. I'm really loving these cards. This is the Moonology Manifestation cards, Yasmin Boland's latest deck. Did you do your new moon wishes in Cancer, Moonchild? If you haven't, I'd still do them. And I'm also reading from the Good Tarot. In Kylie's Cubby, we're doing a series. The next guide and the next theme is called Talking Tarot. So I'm taking you through all my tips for tarot, and I'm really super rusty on it, so I'm glad we're doing that because I haven't read my tarot for ages. And I will give you a quick tip right now. That tarot deck, the Good Tarot deck, I'll tell you a little bit about it. It is huge. Look at that. Absolutely massive. One of Colette's biggest decks. And what you can do when you want to read it is just split it. So split it in two and just read half the deck. That's what I'll be doing. And another thing about this deck is it doesn't reverse like traditional tarot. It's called the Good Tarot because Colette took all the scary stuff out of it from, you know, your medieval generic sort of Rider-Waite deck. And that's what put me off tarot in the first place was, yes, it's highly accurate and it's super on point and amazing. And yet I couldn't tell my clients the information that I got. I was like, no, I can't talk about that. That's why I got into, you know, became Team Oracle, because I just thought that was much better. And then what happened is with this, I found out, you know, lots of different Oracle cards, and I found Colette, and so I found the Good Tarot. But with the Good Tarot, what she's done is it doesn't have traditional meanings. Instead, she has put an affirmation, which is sort of the essence of the card and how to work with the energy of it for the best, most positive experience going forward, which I think is brilliant and I love it, but I haven't found it very useful, not when it comes to client readings. So I'm going to dive into the tarot and I'm going to be reading from the Good Tarot, but I'm going to be looking at traditional meanings and intuitive meanings. What do those things mean for me? One of the things, I'll give you a really quick tip, is some tarot decks you'll find they have changed the artwork, but it's a fixed system. It's got to have 78 cards. It's got to have the major arcana, the minor arcana, and the 4 suits. So what you can do too is just go and get your tarot deck and pull out the major arcana. And I'll see, okay, I've got one here, the Magician. Oops, I can't believe I did that. I've been playing around with my light and it's going to fall over. Okay, if you can get the Magician, there you go. There he is. I'm going to have to move my light. Excuse me with the technical difficulties. Oh dear. There we go. It's just going to have to sit on there and off. And now I've made myself all glowy. Oh dear. Okay, stay light, stay. The Magician. So if we were looking at the Magician, here's a really quick way to break it down and do your own notes on it. So pull out the major arcana, shuffle them, ask, you know, do your ritual. You're opening up to spirit ritual. Ask that you connect with the best and highest energies to receive the best and highest messages, guidance and wisdom for your best and highest good and the best and highest good of all. Shuffle the major arcana, pull one card out, be nice and grounded and centered, and then say 3 things. If this card was a person, who would they be? Then, if this card was a situation, what would that situation be? And thirdly, if this card was a thing, what would it be or what would it represent? So that's a really quick top tarot tip that I have for you that you can have a play around with. And let me know in the comments if you have a go and see if it just helps you to make sense of the major arcana, because you've got to split it to major arcana, minor arcana, and then, you know, I mean, there's so many layers to tarot, which is what makes it so good, because your readings can be so in-depth, but a lot of people just find it too daunting. But there are ways that you can break it down and make it work for you, and you don't have to try and understand the whole thing at once. It's not going to happen like that anyway. So if you have any questions about tarot, please let me know. I'm more than happy to answer them. I'm not a tarot card expert, but I will definitely have a go. All right then, let's get into it. So the question I'm asking today is, what are the most important themes for July? And how do we best navigate the energies for our collective success? So what are the most important themes for July, and how do we best navigate these energies for our collective success? Really like that question. Just breathe that one in. Okay, if I could breathe, I would do that. I always like to sort of keep the question in mind and handy. I always like to repeat the question while I'm reading it. Okay, now I need for you to get centered. Breathe in, breathe out, arrive in this moment right here, right now. And I want for you to choose a number intuitively between 1 and 3. All right, got your number? You hang on to that because that's the number of the card pile and the number of the card that I'll pick for you, whose message will just be a little bit more relevant, a little bit more pertinent for you and whatever's going on for you in your life right now. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh, guess what? I was focusing on that and not the question. Okay, so what are the most important themes for July and how do we best navigate these energies for our collective success? That's another good way to do. Just hold the cards on your heart, repeat the question, breathe it in. What's it like where you are in the world today? It is raining, wet, cold and miserable here today in Sydney. It's supposed to be like that all week. And I wish you all the best, all the parents, carers and families, because this is the first week of our school holidays. Some kids have already had a week of it. And we'll be going back. Okay, so if you chose card number 1, I've picked a pile. I picked the bottom card off. This is from Wisdom of Avalon, and they don't reverse. We had this card last week, and when I was shuffling, I saw it again, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if we'll get the same card again. We have. So our anchor card is the frog, and it's an emotional flood. And I really do feel like that's what's going on with me as well. I'm hooked into the collective energy and processing that a little bit. We tend to process it for everybody. I probably need to assert my boundaries and get more detachment. I go around saying the effort word a lot. And, sometimes I can only deal with what's in my basket. And when I'm in a better place and I don't have a rotten cold and I'm feeling better, then I can do more prayers and healing for, the collective. So the flood is cleaning house, releasing emotional baggage. Good time for decluttering. Look, we've had the first 6 months of this year go by, and I realized when I was doing my journaling, I can be so quick to think, oh, look at all the things I haven't done and haven't achieved in 6 months. And then again, I look at, what's been going on for us all and everything, and I'm like, no, that's my negative bias kicking in. Your brain has a negative bias that kicks in, and it's always easier and more strong, more strongly felt and easier to connect to the negative rather than the positive. That's called the negative bias. And so it's like, why don't I just think of all the things I have achieved, all the progress I have made, all the things that have changed and changed for the better? Like, why did I just jump to the negative? And I was like, oh, that's negative bias. Anyway, the frog, really good time to look at this last 6 months. Financially clearing out, decluttering your house, decluttering your internet space, your digital footprint and all the rest of it. Clean out your email folders, streamline things. What's in your life that you really, really need and want and love and would love to keep? And what is there on the periphery that's not really serving you any longer? And if you let it go, you would free up space and feel, the energy and momentum pick up so that you can move forward into the next 6 months of 2022, with more ease and grace. So the frog, be patient with yourself. This is an emotional flood. It's also a warning to check all your plumbing. It's a physical flood, so, take care of your houses, your people. Be mindful when you're out traveling. Do you really need to go anywhere? Check the weather warnings, that kind of thing. But I feel like it's a collective flood on the level that things are being washed out and away that we no longer need. So thank and bless your challenges, those rocks in your river, the things you have to navigate and work through. Trust that whatever the challenges are, there's always going to be help and support to work your way through these things. And there's always a deeper meaning to every challenge. There's always a soul lesson at the bottom of them. There's a kernel of wisdom and growth that we obviously need, because when we just go into avoidance mode, we move towards pleasure, away from pain. So when we're in avoidance mode and we avoid these things, they're just going to come back around, until they've delivered whatever gift they need to deliver, until we've absorbed, taken on and understood the lesson they present. So the flood, it's physical, it's material, it's emotional, it can be financial, and it's like embrace the clearing out and flow. Be like the water. Just flow around the obstacles and the challenges. Don't worry if you've done your best to navigate the current challenges. That lesson will come back around. You'll spiral back around at another level. So you picked number 1. That was the frog. Okay, number 2. Thank God for peppermint tea. The reason why we're clearing out is the death card. Now, don't be alarmed. Death, any sort of death in tarot or oracle cards, just means death of the old, transformation. It's in the cycle of birth, death, life, rebirth. And frog is also fertility. So a lot of things might have built up. You might have thousands of ideas and eggs and, pots on the stove. And you don't need them all. I really keep connecting to that streamlining. So the thing is, death of the old. We are saying goodbye to old paradigms, but we need to say goodbye to them at bigger levels. The things that are happening in our world at the moment seem like they're dragging us backwards, but what it is this is the last, digging in, and we're seeing, very clearly the resistance some people have to letting the old fall away because they can't embrace the new. They're shit scared and they don't feel empowered by the new. They feel insecure because they haven't dealt with their own shit. That's not our problem. I mean, it is and it isn't. But the thing is, like, if we see, the digging in of the old systems and old ways as just this is their last futile, way of resisting what's coming, what's possible, the new, then, it's a good sign, really, in a way. We just need to stay the course and see all these things through. So death just means a clearing away, a dying off of everything and anything's no longer needed. We need to embrace that new raw state. Sometimes we can feel very naked and vulnerable when we're embracing the new, when we're taking off these old layers. We can feel exposed. We can feel insecure, unsure. Yet what this card is saying is this is normal, this is natural. Death is as much a part of the cycle of evolution and growth as anything else. And if we resist that, things are just going to build up till they become so uncomfortable and they become almost festering and rotten. And we don't want that. So let's embrace death as part of this transition from the old to the new. So embrace the decluttering. Declutter yourself. Declutter your wardrobe. Just look at everything and say, right, is that what I want to carry through for the next 6 months? Or, into the new me? And I really keep feeling like we've got to lighten the load. It's not about wealth and materialism and capitalism anymore. We can't carry those things forward. They're no longer sustainable for anybody, especially not the planet. Holy God, this is powerful stuff. These are called journey markers, these last 2 cards. Wisdom of Avalon has animals and archetypes, and it also has journey markers. So resurrection. So we've got the emotional flood, the decluttering, the clearing out. Then we've got the death, the transformation. Then we've got the rebirth, the resurrection. So what is going to grow up out of the ashes of the old? I feel like it's so exciting, on big terms, like break it down for next month, like this month. The themes that we're going to be engaging in, this is a chance for resurrection, for rebirth, for invigorating our lives and ourselves with new life. And don't you feel like we need it? Perhaps that's where we're at in the cycle of coming out of this pandemic. So resurrection is a reconnection with our values, our core values, what it is we find really important, what it is we would like to express in all areas of our life and connect with others on, our core values, and envisioning this new world that we have for ourselves and for others. Because the thing is, it's not okay for us to sit in our own places of comfort while our sisters and brothers are suffering and they don't have access to the same things we do, like basic, human needs, like shelter and clean water and stuff like that. There will never be peace until we all have equal access to the things that we need, not just to survive, but to enjoy our lives. So resurrection is a really exciting thing. If you chose card number 3, be prepared for some upheaval in your life, but for the good, for some things to be resurrected, and from things from the past that are really important, which have been tamped down, for them to come back up. Resurrection means you used to be erect. Something crushed you, it was buried, and now it's being resurrected. And think about why it's being resurrected. What's being resurrected and why? That's really, they're good questions. So yeah, and how do we navigate these energies? Well, can you be a part of this resurrection? Can you think about in your own life, what do you want to resurrect? What do you want to re-experience? And what are you ready to let go of? And how do you clear the way? How do you make a good foundation for the resurrection? Maybe you're resurrecting your career, after being a stay-at-home mum and looking after children. Maybe you're resurrecting your health. Maybe you're resurrecting the goals you had for your life. What was your one burning dream that you carried in your heart? What lights your soul on fire? Maybe you're resurrecting that. It could be so exciting. So I'm really happy with that message. I feel like July is going to bring about some more big themes. Be prepared. Hold on to your hats. Because there could be some big stuff. And, the planets are doing some cool stuff too. I think there's a Mars-Pluto thing happening. So fieriness with darkness, meaning, making the unseen seen. Potential, I think, for some violent clashes, things like that, war and conflict. So let's trust that will all be taken care of no matter what happens. Okay, so further clarity and insights, we have full moon in Leo, which says go wild. I love that. And we're thinking about the resurrection and leadership, good leadership. I always get that with Leo. And also taking good care of yourself, your outward appearances, things like that, having pride in yourself, pride in your life. But Leo is a little bit like, what? If everyone's not tampered down and, Saturn's not really giving us a hard time at the moment, it's like the rules and the restrictions, be prepared to live it up a little bit and, to engage not in recklessness, but take some risks. Enjoy your life. It's kind of like, when everything's going to hell in the handbasket, well, you've lived a good life and you've, obeyed all the rules and been a rule follower all your life. Well, now's the time to just let go a bit. And maybe going wild for you looks different to it does to others. It's not saying rush out and party your head off, but it's just saying, let go a bit more, be a bit more flexible and enjoy your life as well. I know that seems contradictory with everything going on. It really does. Yet that's it. Okay, tarot. We need a tarot card to take us a little bit deeper, to fill in some of the details of this reading. And to do that, what are the most important themes for July and how do we best navigate those energies for collective success? Okay, then I'm going to wrap it up. And I thank you if you've watched along so far. If you have any questions or comments, I respond in the comments. Oh, I like this. King of Air. So air would be swords. So she said some tarot cards, they do the elements. They do earth, air, fire, water. Is that right? Earth, air, fire, water. I always have to think. Instead of pentacles, wands, swords, cups. So air is swords, and this is the King of Swords. So if this represented a person in your life, think about who would that be for you. It's very much a leader, but someone who comes in and says, someone who comes in and drops the budget and says, right, you have to tighten your belts. I've got to cut away the excess here. And, or the person in your house that does the budget and says, right, we can't afford that this week, and this is going to be, but it's a little bit of belt tightening. That's what I feel like. This King of Air coming in as a person is someone authoritarian, someone who likes to stick with the rules, which is a bit of opposition of that go wild message with Leo, and someone who's saying, right, you've got to keep things on the straight and narrow. But someone also is going to guide you through all those messages that came up. So, the decluttering, be brutal. Let go of the things you really don't need. Digitalize your photos, things like that. This King of Air is not emotionally, very connected in that way. He's not very emotionally volatile. It's very like, just get the work done. King of Air as a situation means you may be faced with something at work or in a relationship, whatever. You can't afford to have the extraneous stuff, and you can't afford to be really emotionally attached to something. As you said, you need to be a little bit brutal and just look at what's really necessary and just get yourself through into this next stage. As a thing, King of Air would be a budget. King of Air would also be a schedule, a planner, an organizational tool. King of Air as a situation would be downsizing a company, something like that. So someone in authoritarian leadership position saying we need to cut away the fat, the excess, we need to streamline things because that's how we're going to be fit for the future. So yeah, future would be a policy. King of Air would be a policy, that sort of thing. Okay, what's my feeling with him is sometimes we need that. Sometimes if we're getting too much into excess, it's not going to help us move forward, especially financially. I really feel like there's a financial message in this, is that decluttering, that death card, getting away, the transformation, the new resurrection, is that moving forward, we've got to be financially fit, we've got to be emotionally fit, mentally fit, we've got to be spiritually solid and grounded in our practices and processes. And King of Air is there to say anything that's in excess, anything that's going to hold you back and drag you down, you've got to cut it now and let it go. All right. That's been July Oraclecast. What a powerful message. I know, I watch these videos a few times myself throughout the month to reconnect, to really get that guidance. And I always said, if I filmed these messages and the only person they helped was me, then they were worth it. Yet, so many people do let me know that they benefit from these messages. And let me know in the comments right now what's resonating with you. How does this message apply to you? And if you have any questions, and I will respond to your comments. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified, and I'll see you next month. If I don't see you on Wednesday night at Cuppa and Cards. Any questions, anything like that, email me. May you have the most amazing July. Take excellent care of you. See you next month.